I want you to have a good look at your partner, have a look at what they're wearing, study them. Okay, turn around, face back to back so you can't see each other. And I want you to change 12 things about your appearance. Do that now, please. Change 12 things about your appearance. Wait, I got it wrong. Just change 3 things, change 3 things. Change 3 things about your appearance. Once you've done that, turn and face each other, and I want you to tell each other what's changed about that person. Okay, and sit back down where you were. Sit back down where you were. Okay, what was the purpose of that exercise? Who can tell me? What was the purpose of that exercise? Attention to detail. Anything else? Observation. Anything else? Lighten the mood. Anything else? What, sorry? Analysing. Any others? Getting outside your comfort zone. It does all of those things, so you're all right, but that's not the reason why I've done the exercise. When I said change 12 things, some of you actually said I'm not even wearing 12 things. Most of you just stood there paralyzed because you're just thinking, what am I meant to change? Raise your hands if you thought that initially when I said change 12 things. And then I said I actually made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. It was all actually planned, and I'd done that for a very specific reason. When I said change 3 things, did you change 3 things? Now, if I'd have asked you to change just one more thing, do you think you'd have been able to do it? And then if I asked you again to change just one more thing, do you think you'd have been able to do it? And do you think we could have got to 12? Do you think we could have... Yeah. Could we have potentially got to 50 or 100 with different combinations of taking one sock off, putting one back on, putting one shoe, turning it the other way around, taking one arm out your sleeve, taking your hat off? Could we have continued to go and go and go? Okay, and here's the point with this, guys. That change by the yard is hard, and change by the inch is cinch. And what I mean by that is when we chunk things down and they're in a logical order, then you'll absorb them a lot easier. And that's exactly what I'm going to do over the next 3 days. So, before we start and we go into the discipline model, which is the 10-step model, I'm going to take you through all of those steps. There's something that we must do. And this can be quite tough for some of you, but it's very important. So the key to unlocking the discipline model is you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that's ever happened to you and every result that you've ever got. 100%. So if you go blame your partner or your mum or your dad or the school you lived in or Boris or COVID or your friends, whatever it is, you lose the power to be able to change your life. Because if you give that to somebody else and you're blaming it on something external, it means you've now lost the power to control it. Does that make sense? So you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that's happened to you. Everything. All the shit stuff as well. Because you've created a certain level. And when people say to me things like, yes, but my ex-wife's done this and she's took all my money and she took me to court. And I say, who fucking married her? Everything is cause and effect principle. And if you were to wind it back, it came from your decisions why something happened. So we need to take 100% responsibility. Okay, this equation here. Anyone like algebra at school? Anyone? It's normally one weirdo. It's funny though that I made this joke about algebra, and it wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago, one of my coaches, we were talking about this very thing about algebra, and he actually asked me, do you know why you do algebra at school? Does anybody know why we do it at school? Anybody? Problem solving, exactly that. Now, if somebody had told me that at school, when people were showing me things like that, and I was just like, what's this shit? Like, when am I ever going to need this in life? If somebody had told me that we use this so you can solve problems, so it helps you further on in life, I might have actually took a little bit more notice. But don't worry, we're not doing algebra today. This is an equation that I seen in a book. It was the first personal growth book that I read in 2006. And it states that event plus response equals outcome. So write that down. Event plus response equals outcome. Event plus response equals outcome. And what this is basically saying, guys, is that you have the ability to change the outcome by how you respond to any given event. So an example of that, it was in the papers going back probably 4 or 5 years ago. You might have seen it, that there was a big traffic jam. I think it was on the M25, and loads of people were going mad, beeping their horns, people were arguing, and one particular woman went in the boot of her car, pulled out a towel, and she sunbathed all day because it was red hot. So some people were stressing out that they were late for work, that it was boiling hot because it was a red hot day in the UK, and this particular female went in the boot of her car, stripped down to her bra and knickers, and just laid out and sunbathed all day. Would you agree that they had exactly the same event? The only thing that changed was the response to the particular event, which changes the outcome. Can you see that? So it's really important, guys. If you get just this one thing over the next 3 days, forget everything else about property. If you get that one thing, your entire life will change. Just this one thing. So your ability to respond to any event and what life throws at us, because would you agree, life throws us a shit sandwich every now and then? Yeah? Pulls the rug from underneath of you when you're least expecting it. Sometimes we can't do anything about the event, but what we can do is change how we respond to it. And how you change your response to something, you can determine the outcome. Discipline, what is it? Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. George Washington. And the Oxford Dictionary, discipline comes from the word disciplos, meaning instruction and knowledge, and it's to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. To train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. Your level of discipline, guys, is determining all of your results. So every result that you've ever had in life and ever will have in life is down to your level of discipline. Raise your hands if at times you know you should be doing something but you don't do it because you can't be asked. Look around the room. So your own personal discipline will take you to a particular result. And depending on where the bar is of your level of discipline and what you're willing to do, that's where your results will stop. Simple as that. So if you want to take something to the next level, you need to raise your standards. You need to raise your own personal discipline. And I'm going to teach you how to do that over the next few days. So if you're looking at that going, oh my God, he's going to beat me with a stick and he's going to force me to do all these things, I'm going to show you how to make that easier for yourself. So how to get small wins. And the small wins that you get, the build up, that equal big results. And the more you start to control certain areas of your life, you can start to control other areas as well. And the more you raise that standard, the higher level result you're going to get. It's as simple as that. You need to know exactly what it is that you want from life and where it is that you're heading. And that's something we're going to get really clear on over the next couple of days. So you've probably seen it in the community when people finish the training. And there was a guy last time, I think it was Alan, he put a post on the other day, and he said driving home he was just screaming in his car. He didn't know why he was screaming. He was just screaming in his car at the top of his voice. Rather crazy. And the reason why that happens is because you're at an elevated level, and for the first time, if you've got clarity, you will feel good. You'll feel at a different level to what you felt in the past. So it's all about knowing where you want to head. and where you are heading and what you're aiming for. And I'm going to be really chunking down on that. So when you leave in the next few days, you know exactly what it is. What does success look like for you? Because it's different for each and every one of you. So desire. And as I said there, desire is the starting point of all achievement. Nothing has ever happened and ever will happen without it. Does anyone know who said that? It was me, but I wasn't the first person to say it. Napoleon Hill. It was exactly that, Napoleon Hill. So Napoleon Hill was the person who said that. Somebody that I've studied a lot. Napoleon Hill was given the task of studying the world's most successful people, and he wrote a book on that called Think and Grow Rich. And he found basically patterns of successful people. They were doing a particular thing that equaled a particular result. So the summit that we do, and it helps you chunk into why do you actually want to do something. And I call this the 3 whys. The 3 whys. So one of the biggest questions that I get from most people, and I often use guys as well, is I want to make a shitload of money. That's usually what you ask me. And I say, okay, why do you want to make a shitload of money? And then you say, to buy houses and cars and all that. And then I say, okay, why do you want houses and cars and all that? And then that's often where you'll stop and reflect and you'll go, because I want to support my family. I want to provide for my kids. And I now know that you're at a chunk down level, that you're at a values-based level. That this is coming from a place now, not from ego, it's coming from a place of what means something to you. So, if we use the 3 whys, we can chunk down. So that's how I use it. When someone says, I want to make a shitload of money. And I go, why do you want to make a shitload of money? Because I want houses and cars and I want loads of things. And I go, why do you want houses and cars and lots of things? And they say, because I want to be able to provide for my family. So if you're shooting for any goal at all, ask yourself why 3 times. So ask yourself why 3 times. Whatever that goal is. If it's, I want to be a millionaire. Why? Because I want to buy certain things. Why do I want to buy certain things? And what it'll help you do, guys, is get down to that chunk down level of what's really important to you, rather than the superficial bullshit that the ego strives for. And there's nothing wrong with ego at all. There's a lot of talk around ego at the moment, and people making it out to be a bad thing. You wouldn't be in the room today if it wasn't for your ego. So the only thing that I ask myself, is my ego serving me and other people, or is it hindering me and other people? So is it serving me and other people, or is it hindering me and other people?